Good afternoon, I'm KHU 11 Meteorologist Chris Ramirez. We are tracking some rain now moving into southeast Texas, and those temps still just remaining cold. The good news, it's going to remain above freezing here across Houston, but we are expecting that rain to become heavy at times as we head into later this evening. So cold temps and rain is going to be the main story for this evening between 4 p.m. and 3 a.m. It's the reason why the KHU 11 weather team has issued that weather impact alert. We could see some minor flooding with those areas that do receive more of the heavier rainfall. So as we go into the rest of this afternoon, we are expecting those conditions to once again become just real soggy and wet. Also, we're tracking those wind speeds as well. Winds are going to be very gusty, especially along the coast, between maybe 30 miles to 40 miles an hour. But as we look at our situation, we're expecting those conditions to remain mostly just a bit more active in terms of our weather pattern. We're expecting that rain to once again move in by 4 to 5 p.m. 6 p.m. 42 degrees, temps just remaining above freezing. Right now, temps are in the lower 40s. We are seeing some 30-degree temps here across our northern areas. 39 in Humble, 37 in Conroe, Huntsville at 36, College Station at 37 degrees. And also, like I said, when you factor in the wind speeds, it's going to feel all the more colder as we head into later this evening. And then you want to add in the rain that's coming our way. Looking at radar right now, looking very messy, especially along I-69 southwest of Houston. And we're seeing this large swath of rain now starting to move in closer towards the city. And so areas near Sugarland, maybe just south of the loop, and rain is approaching the southern end of the city, and it's going to start moving northward from this point forward through the rest of our afternoon. So we're going to start seeing those roadways become a bit slick and pretty hazardous. But the good news is that we're not expecting any freezing precipitation here in the Houston area. Most of that freezing precipitation remaining well north of us, especially in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're dealing with some widespread heavy freezing precip as well as widespread snow. Looking right now at the radar across North Texas, Waco still is not really seeing much of anything freezing, just most of that freezing precipitation sticking along the I-20 corridor north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're seeing that line just changing to that sleet to freezing rain in some of those locations. So hazardous conditions expected well north of Houston. But as we look at those current flight delays here across Houston, no delays as of now. However, for all flights heading into the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, they have issued a ground stop for all inbound flights until 3 p.m. So folks that are going into Dallas likely to be dealing with some pretty much major delays for that as they have issued that ground stop. As we go throughout our evening, we're going to start seeing that rain become a bit more heavy, at least as we progress through the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock hours. Temps are going to remain in the mid-30s. We're just going to see those temps remain above freezing, but we can't rule out some possible freezing precip towards our northern areas fall from the sky. But as long as those ground temperatures remain above 32 degrees, we're expecting it to melt on impact for us here across southeast Texas. We're not expecting this rain to really let up until at least 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. And so we could see some minor flooding in some locations, especially along our coastal areas where they could receive between 2 to 3 inches of accumulated rainfall. So looking a bit closer towards town, I'm going to go ahead and back this up. This is moving a little too fast for us. We're expecting widespread heavy rain, especially by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So I'd say by 6, 7 o'clock, you might want to be where you're going to be for the rest of the night, as that rain is expected to become a bit heavy, especially along our coastal areas. Models are indicating that we're going to see this widespread heavy rain move through Houston at least through the 10 p.m. hour, and then lasting at least through into the overnight hours into early Monday morning. Also keep in mind that when you combine the wind speeds with the temperature, we're expecting some fairly fast wind speeds, especially along our coastal areas. The National Weather Service keeping that wind advisory in effect for our coastal areas until 6 a.m. Friday. We could see winds between 20-25 miles an hour, gusting up to 40 miles an hour in some of those locations. Also a gale warning for all of our coastal areas offshore. This could create some fairly rough seas, so you might want to just stay away from the water if you are in around the Galveston area. Looking at the winter weather alerts, we're not under a winter storm warning here across southeast Texas, but they're dealing with winter storm warnings all across a large portion of the U.S., and that does include a large portion of Texas. So we're skipping out on the freezing precipitation. We're just going to get that cold, miserable rain, and then in combination with the wind speeds that are going to start picking up as we progress through the afternoon. So radar right now showing widespread rain now moving into our southern areas of Houston, and we will start seeing those roads become wet from this point forward, as radar is indicating mostly this moderate to heavy rainfall stretching as far south as Corpus Christi, leaving Victoria, and then that is moving into the Houston area within the next maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And of course, we are tracking the latest weather updates here across southeast Texas, as well as the anticipation for some heavy rain throughout the rest of the evening. And you can find the latest weather updates on KHOU.com and on the KHOU 11